time to restart again. Do that. Bullshit.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my lord.
What? What? Oh my god. Dude!
That's so bad.
Oh my god, it's a reset.
Oh, I forgot to reset the
That's fun.
timer. Of course, that's the one. Oh my lord.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
And of course I don't have the right sensitivity.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his...
Alright, hold on, I need to check some stuff. Content warnings on.
This is the story.
That goes to 60. And then I need to set that to 3.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley...
Oh my god, why do I keep on messing up?
All of his co-workers
Okay,
were gone.
why is it always I
What could it
get
mean?
short hallways
When
like
Stanley
so
came to a
quickly?
set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct
The
way to the
first
meeting room, and
ending
Stanley knew
right
it
after the
perfectly
first
well.
ending,
Perhaps he
like,
wanted to stop by the employee
oh my
lounge
God.
first, just to
Why
admire
can't
it.
I get that?
Yes, truly a room worth admiring.
But eager to get back to business,
Whatever.
Stanley took the first open door on his left.
I don't even care.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
At least I have a good start.
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
No way, it's all my fault. So I get the phone. The phone ring.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Okay, whatever. It's 2 seconds worse than my other room, but still.
Hello,
Honestly,
and
I
thank you
don't
for
care
playing
about
the
the
Stanley
start of this
Parable
run.
Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands
Yo,
the
let's
world of the
run door.
Stanley
I'm just
Parable,
kidding.
delighting audiences the world over.
I love doors.
Please,
I love
step
those so
inside
much
and see
as
what
well.
thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
If I get added as a mod,
Oh,
I'll
well,
probably
this sounds
as verifier.
delightful.
I'll probably.
I'm very excited to see the thrilling
let's
new
go.
Ultra Deluxe content.
I
Okay,
wonder how much is
run the
included
game.
indoors.
nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's
At least
just the beginning of a
160,
mesmerizing adventure.
maybe something like that.
It must be like 600.
No, not 600. It doesn't go with
Is
that
it broken?
far.
What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Whee!
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if them... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle? Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it.
Yay.
I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills,
So a lot of
no
things that you can
gimmicks.
break in this game.
Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
This is like the worst memory zone entry that I've ever done.
Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something. Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content. Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone. To spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories. These were simpler times, Stanley. What I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the Memory Zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam.
Steam reviews.
The online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game.
I couldn't be bothered to play this
game. The
game
narrator was obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny!
Having a bad time.
I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them. Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley, I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
Alright, time to have 3 minutes of this again.
Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that.
This
if I'm
is so
truly
sick.
too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is.
Uh-oh.
You're back, you
I
see.
skipped
You
the
were
narrator.
only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue for... Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption... Okay, welcome back, Stanley.
Yeah,
now,
get
I
it,
should
get
say
it,
that the
and
amount
I'll
of
do it
time
again.
the button
do
has
like
been
the
skipping through
narrator's
is becoming
voice,
longer
though.
and longer. That last one was, well, I
Yeah,
want to say
get it,
maybe
get it, and
30,
I'll do
45...
it again.
That's the only
Stanley,
way I like the dialogue.
Stanley,
in the
please
game.
don't push the button
Yeah.
again. It's been
His
12
exaggeration
hours.
is so good.
You've just been frozen there.
I wonder how
I don't
much
know why the
work.
skips are getting longer, but they're...
Yeah.
I
Oh,
wonder
After you
how much
forget it.
work they took to do this
You're
game.
back. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So after you
Yeah.
forget it, drink at 3 a.m. It's like the same one as the
Stanley,
other
I
one.
think it's
Really?
been
It's just 4 new endings.
2 weeks.
Is it? Oh wow.
Yeah. So I added them to the SRC stuff.
Oh,
Fuck!
hello,
All
it's
endings.
You're
It's
here
changed.
again. Welcome. I have
Yeah.
had time to think about
Oh, I
you
forgot to
and
reject my own. I just rejected my own. So, new updates.
How are you gonna call like the new like update thing? Is it gonna be like
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to
Admiro's
the
the
human
supermod
condition.
of the
But where are the
Glitchless, and
jokes?
he's
Where are
banned.
the jokes? They bemoan, they
He's
scream,
banned.
they nag.
so no one else can be moderate?
Oh no,
the
you
leaderboard
can still
except
moderate.
you.
You can still moderate when you're banned.
How do you know that?
Because media verifies
The
someone
end is never the
when he was
end,
banned.
is
Why
never
he's
the
still banned.
end, is never the
Oh.
end, is never the end, is never the
But that's only
end,
for
is
temp
never the
ban.
end,
If you're
is
like
never the
banned
end, is
forever,
never the end,
yeah,
is
no.
never the end, is...
You're just getting kicked off.
Cyber
I
10
think.
banned.
Yeah, Saba got temp banned.
Let's go.
No, I mean he got perma banned. And they didn't take off his verification themselves, so I did it myself.
Let's go.
Boom.
I wonder when you get perma banned, you get logged out of your account.
You don't get locked out of your account.
Like
You can still go on
Roblox.
I think you can still go on it.
When you
but-
get permanently banned from Roblox or get banned, you get logged out.
I'm not too sure.
Actually, no, when you get permabanned in Roblox, that's when you log out. That's the only way you can get logged out of
Bro,
a Roblox account
our
for no
five-
reason. Getting
My
hacked or
my
getting
five
perma.
player speedrun with Sakura, Kyoxi, Speedus, and Saba. Most of the players are just banned.
God.
Speedus, QXC, and Saba banned, bro.
Jesus.
And Egan, it's just being stalked at the one banned, bro. That's insane. But that run was funny though. It was funny.
Alright, finally! This has gone past. Oh my gosh. The most boring part of the run is finish. It's gone. I need to actually have good RNG for these.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Let me go back.
You see, Stanley, I've been
This is like
reflecting on the
2
Stanley
seconds worth
parable
of my
and about how
video.
roundly
So that's
disappointing
great.
this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley parable was a landmark, and any
So now
new
I'm 5
content for
seconds
it
behind
should live
world
up to that
record.
legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it
Yeah,
one step
So
even
funny.
further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable.
I don't know how the world record runs so perfect.
Maybe you're just bad.
Yes, you
I'm
see,
not.
isn't this far superior
It
to
just
a
has
measly
better
re-release with a
RNG
few
than me.
minor additions? Think of all the new territory
just
we'll
get
cover
better.
with a fully fledged
No.
an entirely new experience built from the ground up.
You're just
Why there are
bad.
so many possibilities? It could go in so many different directions.
Terrible.
This is what fans have truly been asking for. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figured
I don't
that
think
if
my
I can loosely
1503
organize
doors
a handful of
anime
interesting
shop run's gonna
concepts,
be
that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up
Your
around
what?
them. It'll all work itself out.
1503.
Game development is
Oh,
much
your
more of a
PV
fuzzy magic
beaten by
than
yourself.
anything scientific or logical, really.
Bro, I've been trying to go on Akira Taki's level individual
Collectibles.
level runs.
Now
I can't
it's a
even see
real
him because it's
video
still
game.
loading.
In the Stanley Parable
He has
2,
13,000
you'll
runs
run
in
around
total.
gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And
Figurines.
what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward
just
for
said he
collecting all of them.
No.
I don't want to stifle
I
the
just
intrinsic
heard you
joy
say
of watching a
I
number
said
go up.
figurines.
You simply collect all of them, and then you move
Bro,
right along
what
with
the
your
hell?
What?
What? Akira Taki mods this game and all
God,
the
it really
runs
is
that
the
he's
worst when you collect
verified are all
everything in a
his.
video game, and then they
Because
give
he's
you a
the only
big,
person who
calling it the
ran this
Stanley
game.
Parable 2 is just so much catchier
1,249
than Ultra
runs.
Deluxe, don't you think?
My God.
Ultra Deluxe?
Oh
What does it
my
even
God.
mean? Oh goodness, Stanley, this is fairly awkward.
Oh my
I hate to do
goodness,
this, but
Stanley,
before you
this is
leave,
very
you
awkward.
really should go to the bucket exhibit.
What the?
You see, there's a surprise I was going to spring on you later, and it involves the
Okay.
bucket. And I really
Sounds
do hate to
very
break the illusion, but it's important that you go see the bucket, okay? All right, I'll get out of your hair now. No?
I was ready
You're just
for
going to
the
ignore
verifiers.
my advice?
What if
Fine.
4 new
No fun
verifiers
new
come
content
out?
for you
The
then.
doors.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do
This
you
is-
like all of the new
This is
features?
what they're looking
Yes,
for
I
is
know
3 to
it's not
4 new
exactly clear
verifiers.
yet how exactly
Dude,
these features will come
please.
together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere.
looking for?
Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not
Oh
it
God,
coheres
that
into a
lags.
meaningful gameplay
That lagged my
experience.
game.
Okay. Are you ready?
Okay, you're
Here it
ready.
is.
Here it
I
is.
give
I'll
you
give you the
the
Stanley Parable 2.
Stanley Parable 2. Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Version 2.
What is this
Who am I
bullshit?
kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do
Jumps
very much
remaining.
enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than
How dare
anything
you
to
shut
create
off
a
the
sequel
lights.
that would
Wait,
capture
did I
all
tell
the
you that,
magic of the first game. I wanted
the verifier
fans to love it.
applications,
No matter how
someone
good these
literally
gags
put their
are, they won't
actual
stand on
age
their
in there,
own.
which was
They would
10,
need the structure
and
of
they
the
got
gameplay of the
banned.
original.
Who?
Wait, maybe
Some
that's
random
it.
kid.
I can take the
Wow.
original Stanley
I don't know
Parable
who
and
it was,
simply,
but
well,
I mean, he was
in
being
insert a few of my
honest.
new
And
features
he
into
like
it.
he banned
This
someone in the
rules.
Discord
With
server
respect,
and
with
like
care for the
for
vision and
admitting that he was
integrity
10
of the
in the
original
verifier
game.
apps.
I
Could it
mean, he was
possibly work? I
honest.
suppose it could, but it would need a really,
Yeah, but
really
I don't want
tremendous title screen.
less
A
than
title
13
screen that says with bold and
budget area on there to
uncompromising
be on the site.
conviction,
Didn't QXE
this
do like a
is the
troll
Stanley
submission
Parable
of
2.
the verifier?
Let me see if I can
He
whip
probably did
something up.
multiple.
All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Alright, please. Please, RNG, follow me. Oh, okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay.
Yet there was not a single
That's
person here either.
Good start.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
that lag
office.
spike messed me up. Oh my god, what?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay, now I'm actually shaking. This is like really good.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Oh, okay. I got stuck.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why... I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines, those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story,
Okay.
but won't you please indulge
Don't
me
mess
with
up
one
this.
more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time. Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley. And here was a second Stanlerine. I'll be honest, back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways. Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini stand? Can you remember? Hey, that's exactly right. It was here in the boss's bathroom. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
Boop.
Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened. This was the 5th mini stand, and this one was really something special. It was in the warehouse. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy. Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else. And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like. And then there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone. No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels. Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going, I want more. And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched? Yes, I love that video. Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have muted the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one. This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the Figlarines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this? Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then. But time does... Oh, yes! The two dwarfs! Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one. And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision.